What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. And today, I'll be honest, before the Charlton game, I thought we might be doing a match reaction here at 7 p.m. rather than Palace News. But things are heating up. I don't know what's going on after that game, but all the rumors are flying. Two bids potentially for players, also outgoings as well. So it's going to be an exciting show. As always, get involved in the show. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And most importantly, leave down your thoughts in the comment section down below, where I'll try to respond to them after the video. And also get involved in the live comment section. How's it going? And is it warm over there? Today, I'll be honest, it's heating up outside. It's heating up at Palace. Everywhere's just heated up in the UK right now. You're on mute. You're on mute.
A howler. No, it's been hot here, man.
Maybe the heatness is getting to you, I think. The heatness is getting to you.
It's been hot here. Yeah, but it's definitely heating up a little bit for us though.
Yeah. T, I messaged you earlier on today and I said, you watching the game? We're going to do a match reaction because I think there was a lot to talk about in the game as well. Not like a lot in terms of like big analysis, but there were some good talking points, which we're going to talk about, by the way, at the end of the show. Just a quick reaction to the game. And then as soon as that final whistle ended, the rumors started flying. Started flying. 4 weeks left, only a month left, and we've spoke about it. Ideally, you want these players before the season starts. So it seems like finally on a Friday, things are they are gaining traction. Let's see what the chat is saying. What's going on? Nearly August time as well. No France for today. We'll talk about that as well. Mugdad saying it's tea time. We'll speak about it again. We'll speak about the Charlton game. Of course, it ended on a 1-1 draw. But as you can see from the title, Emile Smith Rowe to Palace is heating up. We spoke about him the other day, about a bid potentially being rejected. We didn't know the figures. There were estimates and guesses all around. But it seems like we are finally acting serious, people. And that is according to Fabrizio Romano, is that Palace are set to bid for Emile Smith Rowe. Fulham have had a proposal rejected by Arsenal this week. And most importantly, Palace now set to try as Oliver Glasner really wants him. And that is according to Fabrizio Romano. In addition to that, he's also said that Palace will soon decide on Ryan Sessegnon, which we'll talk about later on. However, from the Arsenal sources, ZRAFC, who's a very reputable source at Arsenal, I think he's got over 100,000 followers on Twitter. He's saying that Palace are preparing. So in terms of the numbers, we are preparing a £30 million bid for Smith Rowe. It is understood that Arsenal want around £35 million. And in addition to that, Ed Aarons has added that Palace are believed to be preparing a £35 million bid, including add-ons. Remember that part, including add-ons for Smith Rowe, which Arsenal are expected to reject. I mean, figures flying about. £30 million is the bid apparently we want. Ed Aarons saying 35 million, including add-ons, is the bid that we're about to make. So around 30 to 35 million pound. Arsenal want 35 million pound. Emile Smith Rowe. There's a lot of people that are upset in a way, which we'll talk about because they don't want him. They're saying Sule would be better, etc. Just your thoughts on the situation. I'll be honest. I think the way that it's getting traction today, it seems like things are getting serious, especially if Oliver Glasner wants it.
I'm actually surprised that at the amount of hate that Emile Smith Rowe is getting. Like, that actually surprises me. Now, is the price high? Yes, it is. And I think us as Palace fans, we're not used to seeing us put out that type of money for one player for sure. So I get the sticker shock that comes with that, but. He's an extremely talented player, no doubt. So interested to see how this all plays out, and really interested to see where, like, when whoever strikes the deal, whether it's us or Fulham or somebody else, whoever strikes this deal, I'm just interested to see what the setup is like, how much they're going to be paying in the transfer fee, how much in the add-ons, any type of fee structure, things like that. I'm interested to see how that turns out, just to compare it to what we've been reading as far as what Arsenal values him as and what they want for him.
Look at the chat. I mean, a lot of people in the chat, I'm seeing a lot of people say no to it rather than yeses. I'm not seeing that many people excited. Let us know in the chat your thoughts about it. I've just put some comments up on the screen, but a lot of people saying that £30 million figure is a bit too much due to his injury records. For you, is the money potentially an issue, especially if, Glasner wants to play? Because there's, the 30 to 35 million pounds for, I think anything more than that, even around that price tag, you could be considered, it's a bit too high, right? Because of the injury records that he's been having. But if you're talking about 40 million pounds, no, I think it gets a bit ridiculous. But I mean, what is the realistic price tag for Emile Smith Rowe as well? He's only, I believe, 24 years old, around that
23,
age.
23.
23, he's turning 24 soon. Or did he just turn 23? I'm not too sure if it's one way or another. But he's, of course, injuries is another concern. Price and injuries, I guess that's what people upset about. But for me, Emile Smith Rowe on his day, and I think there was a comment here from an Arsenal fan saying that he was rated higher than Saka. And he hasn't had that many opportunities. He had 13 appearances last season, I think 12 appearances in the Premier League the season before that as well. Is the price tag a problem?
I mean, I think the price tag is a big part of this conversation and the argument that's being made by people because of the fact that, we talk about so many guys that we're interested in and what we would be paying for them. Talking about a Shule who's around the same amount, or a Nusa who maybe just below it, and you're talking about these high fee outlays, and I think it is a legitimate argument that fans have with the fact that you're putting out that type of money on a player with a very checkered injury record compared to, say, on the other end of the spectrum, a Ryan Sessegnon who could possibly get signed for us, but is going to be completely free to us. So I guess on the risk versus reward scale, this is a much lower risk and a possible higher reward that comes from it. When this one is kind of like high risk, maybe higher reward. You know what I mean?
Well,
so I understand the argument.
If Glasner wants him, then what's the issue?
I guess
this manager has, like, of course, I'm not going to say he's proven himself to the fullest extent, but he's showing his qualities. Glasner last season, he's got the best out of the players as well. If, according to Fabrizio Romano, Glasner really wants him, those are his words. Why would we not want to spend that kind of money?
The only thing I can think of is the fact that
you want to play.
Glasner hasn't signed an extension yet. We could be putting out that type of money on a guy like Smith Rowe only for Glasner to then turn and leave. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of the main things that comes to mind when I think about why not, or why wouldn't somebody want us to do that? Because you put out a club record amount for a player solely because the manager wants him, for then that manager to turn around or not sign an extension or go elsewhere. And then you kind of feel left in the lurch and you're burned. So like I said, I completely understand the argument that is being set from both sides when it comes to whether or not to bring in a guy of this caliber and a guy with this type of profile and situation.
Look, we're going to do our due diligence, of course, and check his medical and stuff. I know that injuries have been a concern. But for me, I'll be honest, I think the chat will disagree with me based on all the comments I'm seeing. But I think he's a very good player. And as long as we do the medical checks, which of course we will do, we're not spending £5 million, we're spending around 30 to 35 million pounds, which according to Ed Aaron's, £35 million is going to be rejected, including add-ons, he says. So maybe with add-ons, Arsenal want a bit more. I'm not too sure. Palace are willing to put in around £30 million bid. So, I mean, the figures shouldn't be it should be around 30 to 35 million pounds. But for me, I mean, if Glasner really wants him, I rate him highly. I do. I think his reputation, of course, covers injuries. I understand frustration from the chat as well, but he's a baller. He's not a scrub, and also he hasn't had that many. It's not like he's been out for the whole season that he's missed 38 games. He's had injuries. Yes, he's had injuries, but he hasn't had that many opportunities at Arsenal. Arsenal, of course, were going for the title. They had the system going. They had the players working out for them. So naturally, he hasn't had that many opportunities. Reece Nelson's another player that hasn't had that many opportunities at Arsenal, but a lot of people would want him. But I think with Smith Rowe, it's just the fact that these injury concerns is what puts off people. But I mean, we've got money from Elise, and some people here have said it as well that they want us to go and spend that money. So if we go and spend that money on Smith Rowe, I don't think it's end of the world. I'm excited. I'll be honest, people. I'm excited. Maybe a lot of people will disagree, but I won't be upset over this. I think that's quality. Eze, Smith Rowe, Kamada, Franca. I think that is creativity that you want in your side. But T, talking about Smith Rowe, a lot, some people are also questioning where he would play. And I've said that as well in the previous stream when a bid got rejected. Could we give him assurance about playing time? He's left-footed, and I think he's right-footed. And
he's both.
Both-footed. But I think strong foot is right foot. But he mainly plays down the left-hand side, anyways. Do you think that could be a concern in regards to Eze and France? Because I think he's got the creativity. Me personally, from what I've seen from Smith Rowe, by the way, he's being a Premier League player. It's not like he's been here only for 2 seasons. He's played for Arsenal quite a few seasons, and he was highly ranked as well. He's got that creative flair, so I don't think there would be a problem with him playing more on the right-hand side, because the 10s that we have anyways, it's not like they stick out wide. It's more about the creativity through the middle rather than, being strong in your left foot or your right foot. Do you think that could be a concern, though? That he's
not for me. Not for me. Not for a guy who has that type of acumen with both feet. I got some stats from my boy Pablo. In his last full season, 30% of his goals were with his left foot, including 2 of the 4 being from outside of the box. 36% of his shots were with his left foot. 14 out of 39 shots as well. So he isn't afraid to use that left foot, whether dribbling or scoring the ball. I think the fact that he's playing on the left was just more attributed to what the team needed, and not the fact that he can't do it.
So let's talk about his injuries. Last season, he had a bruise on his ankle. He missed 1 game. He was out for 6 days. He had a knee injury, which he missed 9 games, so 10 games last season. 22-23 season, he had a groin injury, which made him miss 21 games. He had a shoulder injury before that in the 2021 season, which made him miss 30 games. But 21-22 season, no injuries at all. 19-20 season, head injury, missed 2 games. Groin injury in 19-20 season, missed 34 games. He had in terms of the big injuries, he had a hamstring injury 18-19, which he missed 24 games. But yeah, I mean, he's had injuries that have cost him 21, 30, 34, 24 games of the season. And that is varying from 18-19 season to last season. I mean, Sessegnon has been in a similar situation to you. Surely the club will look at his injury records. I mean, if they're spending that kind of money, this is like, it's obvious. They will have a look at their injury records. They will do their medicals with him, and they won't spend that kind of money if they are genuinely worried about this player being injury prone. And let me read out some of the injuries, by the way. So does he get the same injuries? So the groin injury that he picked up, which made him miss 21 games, was 22-23 season. He missed 30 games due to shoulder injury, which is a different injury. He missed another 34 games to groin injury. So he's had groin injuries twice, one in 22-23 season and one in the 19-20 season, which has made him miss 34 and 21 games. And he's had a hamstring injury in 18-19 season. So the groin injuries popped up twice. He's had one shoulder one and one hamstring as well in terms of the big injuries. He's had different kinds of injuries, but I mean, maybe groin is the area that you could be worried about. But I'm not that, I mean, we will do these checks naturally. So I'm not that worried. If there's a major concern there, then we won't go for him. Like, it's simple as. Surely, like, Palace are not dumb enough to sign a player that's going to be injured straight away. Like,
yeah, and it's not like it's not like
if I know this data, they know this data, and in fact, they'll know a more advanced data than what I know.
Right, and it's not like we're gonna pay a transfer fee and then give them a medical and check them out physically. That's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? So we may agree to a deal, but none of that is finalized and set in stone until he takes that medical and we fully check him out. And of course, they're going to assess every single area that he's had a prior injury, and you're going to test it out to the utmost. I mean, this is professional sports. You know, you're not going to have people just skirting through medicals just to get a guy signed when it could affect the
It's a
the
lot of
long
money.
term
It'll be a
income and
record
output of
signing.
the team. Yeah, exactly. For the same reason why you saw a kid like Nusa have a deal fall through with Brentford. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He went in, they were going to pay big money for him. He did his medical, something came up, and they said no. So it's not like, we're going to be gambling on him in the sense of not checking out his injury history and making sure that he's 100% ready to be back and doing things. So, but once again, I mean, I think at the end it all boils down to us trusting our team, trusting our front office. Um, how many times has Dougie let us down? How many times has Dougie come through for us? You know what I mean? So if
Exactly. Yeah.
Dougie,
If they want to sign him, if they look through the, of course, medicals are done before players are signed, but that's everyone will know that. So as long as he passes those checks, I know he's had injuries, and I think the reason why Arsenal are putting a big price tag on him, by the way, is because trust me, no one knows Emile Smith Rowe better than Arsenal, of course. It's because they know that this player, if he goes to a team and he gets consistent minutes and these
I mean, he
injuries
led him in
don't come
scoring
up,
what 3 years ago.
that player is going to be worth minimum 60 mil, because he's got that talent. As I said before, there were debates about him and Saka, and look how good Saka is right now. Like that's why they don't want to give him for cheap. Of course, now because of his injury record, we might feel like, oh, we're getting robbed, etc. But if he does stay fit, let's say he does stay fit, that's a player and a half to have under your hands. Like it is a very good player. It's not like he's a bum. And also, I mean, Nusa, people talk about Nusa, £25 million. He literally failed a medical due to potential injuries at Brentford, but people still want him. So I think what it comes down to is with the Smith Rowe reports is, could we spend that money on Sule? If we're going to spend that much money, should we not spend on Sule?
That's a good question too. I think part of it is the fact that there's a level of risk with Sule too. You know what I'm saying? Like he's only had one significantly good season in a less competitive league. He's never played in the Premier League before. He's never played English football before. So there's a lot of what ifs that are attached to that too. So I think every move of this caliber with this type of money is going to have assumed risks with it. It just depends on which ones you want to take over others.
Yeah. There's a lot of comments, by the way. Keep sending your comments. I'll put them up on the screen and we'll read through some of them as well. But of course, there's a lot. Patrick saying, I'm sorry, but that injury history is horrific, much worse than what Elise had. So he's not a fan. Stephen saying, I'd say it's definitely a sign Eze's on his way. I hope not. I don't think it's a sign.
Not necessarily. I don't necessarily think that Eze is connected to this move. However, when the time comes that Eze moves on, the whole purpose of what we're doing right now is to make sure that we have guys in place or things in place for us to succeed him immediately. So no, I don't think this necessarily means Eze is leaving, but it does mean that when the time comes that we lose Eze, we have guys that are right there ready to go to step in, and that's what you want to have.
And Glasner wants him. As I said, if people are just joining right now, according to Fabrizio Romano, Glasner really wants him. Not wants him. Glasner really wants him, according to Fabrizio Romano. So if Glasner really wants him, and we've got the money as well, with Elise, and I think we can all agree that even though the price is high, there is a potential that, if he stays fit, if he proves himself, that price could go much higher and we could even make a profit. Of course, it's riskier than spending 20-25 million, but that's just obvious. I don't have to really say that. The less you spend, the less risky a deal is. But, if Glasner really wants him, if there is an upside, which I think there is an upside, and I think that's why Arsenal are kind of worried that, that they'll let him go and the player will automatically turn into a much higher value. And that's why they are charging a lot of money for Smith Rowe, we can have the debates. He hasn't played that many minutes. 13 appearances in the Premier League last season. I think 12 the season before. Of course, he's made a few cup appearances, etc. Is that enough to value him around 30, 35 million. You can have that debate.
I definitely feel like I definitely feel like about 10 million of it is Arsenal tax. It's Big Six tax. Smooth like 10 million of that is like just Big Six tax. Like if he wasn't on Arsenal, I don't think that number would be that elevated. That's just the truth of it.
Yeah, and I don't want to upset Glasner. Of course, like I don't think Glasner will be upset if, let's say, Dougie and the medical department done his checks and it's like, look, sorry, Oliver, but this is scary, and he's gonna always get injured. Like if they've done him checks and they're like to Glasner, this is why we don't want to make that move. I don't think Glasner's a dumb manager. I think he'll realize that there's clearly something behind this that. Let's sort out the bid. Let's do the medicals, and if that's all confirmed, then we're fine with it. If Dougie's fine with it, of course, Dougie's going to make the move. It's not just Oliver Glasner. We got that. We got hierarchy at the football club. If he's okay with it, and Glasner, he made the final client look into like a capable centre back last season. He's made so many players step up. Tyrick Mitchell's improved in the space of a few months as well. So if Glasner really wants him, and if the medical is all fine, I've got no complaints, because me personally, apart from the Glasner and Dougie factor, I do rate him. The bit, of course, I've got concerns about injuries as well, but I expect the club to do their checks, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But look, that's not the only player we're talking about today. It seems like there is another potential bid as well. It seems like things are keeping up, as we said at the start of the show. BR saying our bid is expected to be rejected, so I don't know. That bid, according to Ed Aarons, he said a £35 million, including add-ons, is set to be rejected. And the Arsenal sources and ZRAFC, who's got over 100,000 Twitter followers, he said that Arsenal won around £35 million. Is that £35 million plus add-ons that they want? Is that why it's about to be rejected? Still, I mean, according to reports, we're willing to put in £30 million. According to Arsenal reports, according to Ed Aarons, that might be 35, including add-ons. I don't think the price would be a major factor. If we're willing to put in around 30 to £35 million bid for a player who's worth around that much, I think with add-ons, we can get sorted. I don't think the price would be a problem. If it was a problem, we wouldn't start with a £30 million bid or £35 million bid. So I think that wouldn't be the hold-up. I think Palace will go for it. But let's just see actually what happens with it. Now, let's move on to the second bit of rumour. And this is a player on the channel we've been talking about. We've had 1,000 subscribers. I think we've probably spoke about him. We've had 500 subscribers. We probably spoke about him. And as we're reaching 5,000, he might actually be joining Palace. It's been going on for a few years now. And that is Ismaila Sarr. According to Foot Mercato, things are starting to happen in terms of Palace have actually made a first contractual proposal to Ismaila Sarr. Negotiations are in progress to try to find an agreement. Sarr is excited about a return to England. First exchanges also took place between Olympique Marseille and the English club, which of course is Palace. Smart Sarr. Talks are actually starting. It feels like it's been dragging on for years. It's ever since he was at Watford. But in terms of Smith Rowe and Sarr, how would that work? Are we getting a bit too stacked? Like what would the dynamics be there? Because I'm a bit confused in terms of Eze Kamada, we say, was going to start. Then if we get Smith Rowe and Sarr, does that mean that France just drops the pecking order?
No, not necessarily. But first and foremost, this is literally like probably the last player I want to talk about when it comes to
you're not a fan?
Palace. No, I'm just tired of hearing about it. I'm just tired of hearing about him. Like, I think everything that we've been through in concern to him has made me just like not want to ever talk about him again. To be honest with you,
it's been dragging on for years. It's not even like this window.
Like it's for me, it's Umar Niasse and Ismaila Sarr, the two I never want to hear about. But when it comes to Palace, but I think in this situation, the way that it probably works is that he will probably be cover for right wing back rather than a true attacking option. That's the way I see that it could possibly go, and that's the way I would. That's probably the only way I would want
an option for right wing back. Does he?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Would he not be down the right hand side? Would he just be
down the right hand side, right wing back? That's why he would be playing there. Yeah, but absolutely.
Not as like a potential, like a number 10.
I mean, could you stick him in there? Yes, but he is less of he. I think he's less inclined to play in that that 10 role in Glasner's system because he's not the best passer, ball carrier, creator, linker. That the way that 10 needs to be for us, but he's got all the speed and stamina in the world. He can get up and down the flanks. He's really a true winger in a lot of senses. So I think that's probably where the wing back cover comes from, and he's done it before in the past. So and the thing about it for me too is like the money's got to be right because I'm not paying. I don't want us to pay 20 million for this dude. Like he's got to be like 10 million for me to want to even go after him.
Why? I mean, you don't.
It's not worth the money.
You don't rate him as much.
No, I don't rate him as much. He's about to be 27. I think he is 27.
Good at
about
Watford,
to be 27.
27 ain't that old. I mean, he's a player that, of course, we're not signing him to send him on for.
I mean, he's never been a big goal scorer ever, even as an advanced player.
But would you take him over, for example, Jordan Ayew as an option?
No, because we already have Jordan Ayew. I'd say no because we already have Jordan Ayew. There's no money lost.
Jordan Ayew?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Watford, he was not that bad though, T.
I mean, but that was in the championship. He didn't do anything for Watford when he was in the Premier League. You know, and then he went to Marseille and he's done nothing in Marseille in a weaker league.
Marseille, I don't know. I just only saw.
Yeah, he hasn't done really anything.
Saying that they don't want to lose him. I did. I mean, he's only had 23 appearances at Marseille, and at Watford, I'm pretty sure he done it in the Premier League as well, bro. I'm pretty sure he done it in the Premier League as well. But he plays on the right hand side. He can also play up front as well, potentially. So it might be an option there, fast attacker there that maybe Glasner might want. He's versatile, as he said. He might be able to play right wing back that we spoke about before as well. But yeah, with Sarr, I guess it just depends on the price tag. He's been dragging on for years, as you said.
Yeah, because transfer market has him at like 17 or 18 million, which is 18 million euros. So he's probably like around 15 million pounds, which I'm cool with that area for him. Like, I mean, there's one time when he was at Watford when they were talking like 40 million. You know what I mean? So. You know, I mean, 10 goals and 50 appearances across all of his games in the Premier League. So not bad at all. But it wasn't. Yeah, I don't think it was bad. But as I said, so how would the dynamics work? So we're saying Kamada, because some people say Kamada is going to be playing centre mid. He can play there, but he's not. I think he's just there. I think he's just there right now because we're missing our top three guys.
Exactly. Like, yeah. I mean, Ozoh is playing right wing back, and we'll talk about the Charlton game as well. But Ozoh is playing right wing back, and I don't think he's ever played there in his life, as far as I'm aware. So I wouldn't look into a position too much. But for me, I think Kamada's down the right hand side. No, the two 10s are going to be Eze and Kamada. Behind them, Smith Rowe. And I think Sarr is in that question. I do think he's in that question.
I mean, it could be. It could. I mean, the thing about it is the thing about it that we've seen from Palace and probably from Glasner is Glasner likes guys that can play in multiple places. So adding somebody like Sarr then has a bit of an allure because of the fact that he can probably play in that 10 that right side of 10 position. He can play up front for you if you need him to. He could play down the right side with right wing back and be that wide presence and swing some balls in as well. No homo. But so there's definitely something to be said about the rumor. It does make sense. I mean, he is.
By the way, people, if you're enjoying the stream, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new here as well.
26, about to be 27. So
every single one of you that's done that already. What do you say, T?
No, I'm saying he's 26. turn 27 until next year. So
we actually had this talk about if we sign Kamada, because the rumors have been that we're looking to sign two players as at least a replacement, and we thought Kamada might be one of them and plus another player. Maybe it might be the two. Maybe. By the way, this report suggesting that we've started the talks. It's not like there's been any agreements in place, but he's excited to come back to England. So based on that, maybe I don't think there should be any damage in terms of
And like Looney said, his work rate is crazy, which also is great because like it's like, okay, we can play you in a multitude of positions because you're going to work wherever you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jacob saying he's our Jordan Ayew replacement, versatile and great work rate. Michael saying Zaha still has a good season in him. At least bring the boy home. He was actually
That
linked
was
for
mad
months this
random, but
window, and I said that with all due respect, I think that ship has sailed. I don't want him to come back. It's just done.
I don't think it's going to happen either. I mean,
Yeah, there's no
he's
point.
actually been suiting up and playing for Galatasaray.
Yeah, and trust me, they're gonna need him because Fenerbahce are stacking up on all the quality players. So trust me,
they just oh, I meant to ask you about that. They went and got Saint Maximan. I meant to ask you how you felt
Saint
about that.
Maximan. Yeah, I mean, there's a few other players there as well. So they're gonna
Palace
need
never got him, but Fenerbahce
yeah.
did.
Yeah, exactly. Playing under Jose Mourinho. Connor saying Riyadh was class today. Can see him being a star over Richards. We're gonna actually talk about
No,
Charlton
that's not what happened. But he was good, but I don't think he's going to start.
After we go through all the news, we're going to be talking about that. As I said at the start of the stream, initially what we thought today might be is like an actual match reaction and talking about our first preseason game. And then as the news started coming in, we just had to change it to Palace news. We couldn't do a match reaction. It just had to be Palace news. Shane saying good to have competitions in all positions, everyone playing for the team, everyone playing for the place in the team as well. Look, Ismaila Sarr, contracts. Talks have begun. Talks between Marseille and Palace have begun, according to the reports. Smith Rowe, right now, it seems like Palace and Arsenal are trying to find an agreement, but it is heating up. I mean, 30 to 35 million pound Palace initial bid, according to reports, are not far off Arsenal's valuation. So, and Oliver Glasner really wants him. So, I'll be honest, in terms of seeing the deal being done, Smith Rowe is now, after today's reports, it seems like it's more and more likely. Some people may be upset, some people may be happy, but I won't be too upset over it if we were to get Smith Rowe. Now, let's talk about another bit of player today, and it's only right that we do because it was meant to initially when the day started, because this was the only news that came out, and that was on David Ozoh, according to Edmund Brack. Derby County, our favourites to land, Palace midfielder David Ozoh on loan this summer. Luton have inquired, but for a permanent move. We won't spend too much time on Ozoh because I do want to talk about the Charlton game. Him and Raksaki, similar situation. We mentioned it before. Loan moves, that's what they need to prove themselves. Raksaki, we're going to be talking about him when we talk about Charlton. If it happens, it's a good move, and I think it will happen. I think both of them are going to be leaving this window.
Yeah, I think they will, and I think I'm just excited and happy that our academy players are getting to the level where they're getting loans to the championship. Like they're getting better quality loans. I think that means a lot. I think it means a lot to see a guy like Jez go from a really, really quality Charlton loan to now getting the opportunity to go to a really, really good championship loan and having Premier League teams that have interest in him as well. You know, I'm happy for that. I don't know. I feel like there's a divide between how people view the loan opportunity for Ozoh in particular going to Derby. I've seen people say it's a waste of time, it's a horrible move, and I'm like, I don't see how that's a bad move for him when he can step into a situation where he could be playing every week in the championship, which is an absolutely dog-eat-dog league. And that would be so good for his experience. They're like, well, but the team he's going to is no good. And it's like, how much does that matter? It's not like we're selling him to them. We just want him to play. So,
yeah, let's see. I think that will happen. I think Raksak is leaving as well. And talking about Raksak is only right now that we talk about Charlton before we go through some of the questions. I'll be honest, it wasn't the most exciting game to watch, but it was our first official preseason game with about 8 first-team players missing. We saw Kamada, we saw Riyadh, we saw Raksaki come off the bench. Ozoh also came off the bench. Ebiwe made an appearance. So there were enough players to talk about. But I'll be honest, the player that stood out to me the most is Chad Riyadh. I'm not going to look too much into the performance of, especially like the tactical point of view. I think today it just showed our depth and our need for some of these players that we mentioned today in terms of, you know, the quality between some of the first team and second team. Well, B players is quite visible, and yeah, I mean, Riyadh to me was fantastic. And you said no, that he can't be pushing Chris Richards. Is that your American bias or?
No, I didn't agree with the saying, oh, he's going to start like over Chris Richards, like the immediacy of, oh, he's going to start over Chris Richards. I
It's
think
still
that's
early days.
disrespectful.
It's our first
I think
preseason
that's
game, but he
disrespectful.
looked good
I think
though.
that's disrespectful to a guy who literally buoyed our club last season for long stints of time. We don't do what we did last season without Chris Richards. Period. Point blank. You know what I'm saying? So like I just don't respect. I don't like the disrespect that he gets. Some people, not all people, there are a lot of people that really appreciate him and think he's the quality that he is, but a lot of people just glance over how well he's played for us and what he's meant to us since he's stepped into a more prominent role.
Of course, we have to see more games of Riyadh as well. But from the initial signs, physically strong, very good on the ball, got the ball many times and actually ran towards the midfield. Seemed like he read the game well in terms of on and off the ball, in terms of when to make interception. I was very impressed. I'll be honest, I was very impressed by his performance.
And honestly, I expect him to be
I think he
that
stood
good
out to me.
too. Yeah, I mean, I expect him to be that good too. Like we're talking about a guy who came from the La Masia Academy in Barcelona. We're talking about a guy who started almost every game in La Liga last season. So I expected him to be really good. Like I expecting nothing less than a quality player stepping into the side for sure. Um, so more than anything, credit to Dougie for getting that deal done and for what he cost us. Like that is crazy.
Exactly. Do you think he's up the? That's why I don't want to get too far ahead. But do you think he could be potentially up the pecking order from Rob Holding?
Yes.
Better, yeah.
Yes.
So do you think he goes Gay,
especially because he's left-footed?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the big reason there is because Chatty's the only one that's naturally left-footed out of all of those guys, and that makes a huge difference in that three at the back system. It seems like from the way that things have been developing and the way players are being placed in that back three, that it's not kind of like just a plug and play system. It's like, hey, each guy plays a certain position in that back line, and there's a guy that backs him up. You know what I mean? Like it's going to more than likely be Mark Gahey and Chadi Riyad being his backup. It's going to be Anderson and then Holding being his backup, and then Richards on the right side with Klein being his backup. Like it could honestly be that way.
Kamada,
because of the fact that he's left-footed.
We also saw Kamada today. He started in midfield and second half he advanced a bit more. In the first half, he was very deep. He was basically next to the defenders trying to become like the playmaker. But funny enough, he still got an assist. That Raksaki goal, we talk about Raksaki, it was from Kamada, that assist. But yeah, I mean, it was a solid performance from him. Who also was there that kind of stood out? Wardy played as a right wing back. I would have preferred to play Klein there than Wardy. I was a bit surprised about that. But then again, just minutes. Ozoh came on, played right wing back. And that's why, for me, Kamada, when people talk about, he's been playing centre mid, etc., I don't think that's going to be the case when the season starts. I just think that's because a lot of players are out, having a break because of the international tournament. And in the second half, he was a bit more advanced anyways. And I think that's going to be his position when we start. But, what do you make of Kamada's first appearance?
I mean, I thought it looked great. I mean, do I think he's going to be playing in that more central role? No, I don't. I think it was a needs must thing today in that situation because we were missing our three top center mids, So in that situation, the next guy in line is Will Hughes. And then you got to find somebody to put next to him to make it work. And obviously Glasner trusts Kamada more in the center than say Anawi Hamada, and the fact that you got a Czech Decore on the bench, but he's rehabbing, he's making his way back. So maybe he just wasn't ready to go ahead and put him out there for those starter minutes because he didn't want him to play 60 plus minutes. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and Sessing Young actually came on in the second half. I don't understand why it's just so weird. Why don't I even listen to commentary? I think the person in the commentary, he said
Alan Bright slipped. Yeah, Alan Bright slipped.
And then I just heard it. everyone knows who he is. Like, why are we still treating him like a trialist?
I think it has to be some type of
I don't understand.
legalese. It has to be some type of legalese to it.
I
Of
really don't understand. Like,
yeah.
we know who he is. We know who he is. Even the commentary knows. Like, everyone knows who he is whilst we're watching him. Try. As soon as he says his word,
it's probably it's probably some silly thing like if being that the player isn't contractually.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Contractually part of Crystal Palace, you can't say his name. It's probably something silly
I don't know, but he looked good. He looked good. He was excited.
Yeah, and it's funny. And some people are like, "Oh, Sessegnon didn't look that good." I was like, "How did he not look good? He didn't do anything wrong." I saw people online talk about he wasn't that impressive, and we don't need to sign him. And I'm like, he came on. He came on. He played really well. He did the job. He was literally this close to getting an assist to Jez in early on in that second half. He just narrowly missed getting it around that defender.
Had a few shots as well. He was in the right area, pushing forwards. He looked good. Well. Good. At this point, of course, I haven't seen Sessegnon train since he's been at Palace, but there's no real reason not to sign him unless the wage demands are crazy or the medical reports comes back bad. But I really like Sessegnon even in today's appearance. He only played for like 45 minutes, but he just looks like a capable backup. He looks like the player I expect from his previous time before Tottenham, where he picked up all them injuries.
And the thing about it is, like, he's still with us. Like, think about that. Like, he's played through now 2 closed door games and now 1, so 3 total. He's been with us for over 3 weeks now. You know what I mean? Signs are pointing very strongly to us offering him a deal, I think. And once again, it's a low risk move. We're not paying an outright transfer fee for him. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a low risk move for a player with a huge upside.
Yeah, and Raksaki came on, scored a goal. What a goal! That was rude. Like, that's the best way of describing. That was genuinely rude. He dropped
he sent those dudes to the shadow realm.
Yeah, he dropped them back down to the level they're at. He said, "Don't play with me." He said, "Don't play with me."
And he scored that with his right foot. He scored that with his right foot.
It was a very nice finish as well. And you understand why the half of championship teams want him, and you understand why Palace don't want to sell him with an option to buy or even a permanent transfer, because the only thing it takes for Raksaki at this point is a season in championship, and his value is going to shoot up. Like, he's ready. He's ready.
Yep, absolutely, man. Like that, I think that's the route, because you have a guy who really could pay some big dividends to you, because he has a really good season next year. He comes back into the fold. The year after that, when we could be now sitting here talking about losing an Eze to a bigger club. You know what I mean? But if we do lose him, at least when we're now talking about, hey, we still got Kamada, we still have, I don't know, ESR or whoever comes in, and we have França, and we have Jez. So we got guys that we know can step in to the role. So the departure of a guy like Eze in this time, a year from now, is less of a blow. And I think that's what you want. That's what you want from this process. That's what you want from this change in our recruitment and this building of our academy. That's what you want. You want to be able to have guys that are ready to step in when big time moves are made.
Yeah, just quickly, let me quickly answer this, and then afterwards, I'm going to go through all the questions that people have put a Q&A before it. Hopefully, I haven't missed any, because there's been a lot of comments that's been coming in. Max, any more news on the new stand? I think there's an actual agreement put in place that's been announced. And in fact, I'll try to bring it up.
Lend-Lease is the name of that company. Lend-Lease is the name of the company that won the contractual bid for £150 million.
But in terms of the major work, there was a timeline as well.
They said it'll start next year. Year and be completed in 30 months. 30 months is what they said.
Yeah. So Land Lease has won the award. The figure is expected to be close to around £150 million, with the main work expected to start next year and last 30 months. So yeah, nearly 3 years. But yeah, so it's gonna take a while. I mean, bold predictions. By the time this new stand is finished, what do you think will happen? I reckon Zaha will be back as a coach. What's your bold prediction? By the time this new stand is finished, like what
I mean,
what could happen by then?
Like, bro, that could be, or Zaha be playing in the MLS, one or two. But like, because it doesn't seem like it'll be like what 2027 by the time this thing gets done.
Yeah, roughly. If the main work is meant to start, yeah, it will be. Yeah, it'll be over 3 years, right? If the main work is
it'll
start next year and it's gonna take
2025 and it's gonna take 30 months. It'll be like 2028. Man, some of these people in the chat won't even be Palace fans anymore.
Some of the kids are going. It's going to be a whole new demographic by that time on the channel.
It will be a very different club. We'll be a very different man. D gonna be married. D gonna be married with kids, man. It's gonna be all kind of like 2028.
My kid's gonna be hosting his shows. It's not gonna be me by that time.
Making guest appearances.
I'm gonna be enjoying the new stand. But it is gonna happen. Ed Davids will be manager, D says Dan. Wood. But yeah, it will happen, but it's just gonna take a bit longer than we expect. Hopefully it's done before 2030. Let's just say
just keep living, unfortunate. Just keep living.
Yeah. Steven's saying 3 years, is it a man with a van doing it? Mike saying, why can't they start this summer, wasting so much time?
A man with a van.
They were meant to start this summer. I think the report suggests that the main work is expected to start next year. So maybe all of the smaller works. Don't ask me what the smaller works are because I'm not a construction worker.
Right, exactly.
Maybe that starts this year and the small stuff, and then next year, like we actually kick on. Because I thought it was meant to start around September. But that might be like
I mean, if you want to be technical about it, the work is already started. You know what I'm saying? They got to relocate and build the locker rooms and do the plumbing.
That's why that might be like a smaller work.
So they're probably going to be focusing on a lot of that stuff first, and then the stand. They said the stand itself won't begin construction until 2025.
The main stand, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that could mean the rest of this year. That could mean the rest of this year they're focusing on knocking out all the other things, all the formative things that have to happen before that, and then the stand will go on.
Yeah, that could be the case. Look, let's go through some of the questions now, people. If you're just joining us now, if you're enjoying the stream, hit the like button if you haven't already done so. It helps us out a lot. Thank you to every single one of you that's already done that. Unfortunately, saying is Eze going to preseason games in the USA, or is he still going to be on holiday? We had this talk before. Not that I know for a fact, but I would be surprised if he doesn't make an appearance in the USA tour.
Today's the 19th.
I'll be surprised.
Today's the 19th. They were done at the Euros. What, last Saturday? So 6 days ago?
Sunday, yeah.
So Sunday. So 5 days ago is when you finished.
And
the first USA game is the 31st.
He should be there. Like
that's 17 days from his 17 days from the final whistle of the Euros. That's not a lot of time. But maybe it is like maybe the rule is, hey,
well, then that's the first game.
They only gave Jordan Ayew 2 weeks. So
yeah. But Anderson should be back because he's still
Anderson should be back. Chris Richards will be back.
But the others is not. It depends on how much practice give them because Munoz, Lerma, and all the England lot, they finish around the same time.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how much they give them. But they deserve a bit of rest as well. We don't want to overtire them. So yeah.
But you made a great point. It's like, how much time do you give them? Because
that's a lot of players.
We don't have much preseason after the US tour. We only got one more game after the US tour, unless we add something. Which at the same time, who are we to say that they won't be doing more closed door stuff to get them
Yeah,
You know,
the most
get their
important
legs,
thing
get
right
their
now
wind
is to
back.
get them fit. We already know the talent. Glasner knows them as well. Of course, it'll be nice to work with them preseason, and I think they will work in preseason. Of course, they're not going to just take like all the time off till the Brentford game, but when they return, we're not too sure. We're not too sure. Spiritual saying, if Jez is not good enough, what makes France good enough? What do you think?
The fact that France has already played first team football at a high level for multiple years.
Well, he hasn't.
That's the only thing I
He
think
didn't
of.
make that many appearances first team level. I mean, I remember talking about him. It's not like he was
He
starting.
didn't have a lot of starts, but he had plenty of appearances. He didn't have a lot of starts, but he
Yeah,
had plenty
starts.
of
Yeah, he didn't
appearances.
have, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing that can really stand out.
I don't think we're saying that Jez not good enough. I just think we got better options at this current moment in time where if Jez goes out, he can even become a better player. Like it's about utilizing the best out of Jez Rexaki, trying to develop him as a player. So
Right, because
like
are we
championship.
basically to say we're doing Jez a better service by letting him go somewhere else and play every week than by keeping him and having him play rotationally with someone else.
Yeah. Ash saying how many of Henderson, Gahey, Mitchell, Sessegnon, Smith Rowe, Walton, Eze could get into the England World Cup qualifying squad? Well, I think all the Palace lot. Well, Mitchell, let's see who the next manager is. By the way, you can actually apply to become the England manager. It's on the FA website.
I saw that.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? What is going on?
You can apply online. You can go on the FA website. They have
that is wild. That is wild. The fact that you would devalue
in terms
that
of,
position.
it depends on who the next manager is. But I think the players that got selected to go to the Euros, I think they should be getting called up. And Mitchell is the one that I'm looking at. I don't know about Sessegnon and Emile Smith Rowe. I think Mitchell's the one I'm looking at. But that depends on the next manager, to be fair, and what they want to do.
Part of it depends on how those guys play. You know what I'm saying? Like your form matters. So well.
But then there's not
not necessarily with Southgate, but with most managers.
Yeah, I know. But to be fair, even another manager though, there isn't that long. It's not like there's that many games being played before they go to international break again. It's early September.
Oh, you know what? They're saying qualifying. I'm thinking just like the World Cup. They're saying World Cup qualifying. And even I was thinking more. I wouldn't even think of qualifying. I was thinking the World Cup squad. Yeah. Which
I was going to think that. I was thinking the next international game. I wouldn't even.
You think like the September games? No,
yeah.
Because September is Nations League, I think.
Yeah, Nations League. Yeah. Well, then again, if they're not called up to the Nation League's game, why would they be called up to? Maybe I don't know.
Because but like you said, it's time. Time matters. You know what I'm saying? They have to have time to show. You know, they gotta have time to show that they're good, that they're ready, that they're in form. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't expect them for that next round. Maybe tie. Like you said, depending on who's coaching.
Exactly. Let's see what the next manager does. Tip saying, how are you feeling about assessing your signing? Seems more likely after today's friendly. We kind of spoke about that already.
But I think it needs to happen, Tim.
Simon saying, would you boys agree with me that this period of being a Crystal Palace fan is probably now that there seems to be a sense of optimism? I mean, best, I guess he's trying to say.
I guess he probably just didn't type it, but he probably says,
assuming there seems to be a sense of optimism and great hope of something I've never experienced as a Palace fan. It is exciting. I was actually on TalkSport today, and I said it there as well. Like, I know Elise is gone, but there's a lot to be excited about as a Palace fan, especially with Glasner as a manager. There's always going to be rumors suggesting that Glasner might leave or this player might leave, but there's a good reason for that because they are quality.
And part of it, like
quality players, so I'm not that worried. I think it's very exciting to be a Palace fan right
now.
When
we had Patrick Vieira, and
he lost his job again.
Yeah, saw that. But like I was extremely happy to be a Palace fan during that time. Extremely excited, especially because of the pull that he was getting and the players that he was able to get in because of who he was. And I'm thinking to myself, like, there's not much better I could feel as a Palace fan than what I'm feeling right now. I feel better right now than I did then, and that's kind of crazy to think. Like, but yeah, what a time to be alive, for sure.
Yeah. James saying, a little late here. Would you guys say the most is we should pay? What would you guys say is the most we should pay for Smith Rowe? Cheers, lads. For me, I think 35 is the most. I mean,
35 is in my ceiling. Now the question is, how does 35 look? Like, are we paying 35 like without incentives? Like, mine would be 35 with incentives, but
Yeah,
that's
but
as
then
high
they
as I
put
want to
Ed
go.
Aarons. That's going to be rejected by Arsenal, so I guess they want more than 35.
Yeah, like I said, and that's what
Depending on
makes
if
me wonder:
like,
is the fact that they want more, or they just want it in a different way? You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? Because we can't, and we've seen it with the way that teams are trying to negotiate with us for our players. The way in which the payments are made or the money is distributed matters a lot in the contract negotiation process. Because we
Yeah,
got teams that wanted to pay 60 million for Eze, but they want to pay it over 3 to 4 years. Nah, man. But at the same time, it's like if you come with that same 60 million and you pay it up front, now we can talk. So I'm
yeah,
wondering if that's factoring into it too.
yeah. Twist is saying, is having two starters in every position a blessing or a curse? I think it's a blessing apart from the goalie
Blessing.
position. That's always
Yeah.
been my case. I think Sessing, Young, and Mitchell. I think that's a blessing. That is
Yeah,
very
because you don't sub goalkeepers in mid game like it doesn't happen.
exactly, exactly. And you normally have like a number one goalie. You're not going to swap goalie based on if you're facing Man United or if you're facing I don't know Burnley. So yeah, I think it's a blessing. I think it's something that we've lacked all along. The quality depth. I think we need quality depth to push on, especially to European spots. Animal saying, would you swap Emile Smith Rowe plus 30 million for Eze? I think
No.
that's two separate deals. Yeah, I wouldn't. I
Yeah,
wouldn't do that. I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't.
do that. Unfortunately, saying, what do you think are the chances that we actually sign Smith Rowe? 70%. What do you think, T? I think after
60.
today's
I think we're
report,
60-40. I think it's like 60-40.
I'll be real. It's higher than after today. After today, it
Well,
seems like
but
we're not
here's
that far off valuation
but
as one
but
of the
but
last
here's
reports.
why I
I
say
think we do.
60. But here's why I say 60. I say 60 not because of what we're trying to do, but also the fact that we also have to factor in that there are more than one team involved in trying to get him.
But that got rejected, and it seemed like Fulham. That's pretty much done. I don't know if Fulham are
I
going to
don't
get.
know. I don't
The
know. I heard
report
Fulham
didn't really
was
suggest
gonna
that
make a
Fulham are going to
was
give
gonna
us
make a
another
move
bid.
before we did.
Yeah, but there was no indication that Fulham are going to put in another bid. They might do, but I didn't get no indication of that. So I'll be honest, more like 70, yeah, minimum 70% for me. After today, I think we are seriously
We're only
pushing.
10% away from each other. D. We can get a deal.
Okay, let me say 75% then. Let me say 75%. That will make 50% away from each other. 75%, yeah. Will saying, what's going on at the club with Holding? I remember the fee being small and not being annoyed about a signing, but now it just seems to be in the way of guys like Teo. He was immense today. Teo looked very good and he looked bulked up. I don't think there's anything wrong with Holding.
Yeah, I don't see how Holden is holding back Teo. Like I
That's
don't.
funny. I don't know how holding is holding back Teo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teo is two different positions. Even today, Ozoh played the right wing
I
back.
tell
Doesn't
you
mean
what,
Teo
man,
is going to be playing centre
Teo
back.
looks so fast though out there.
I'm
That
not
dude's
gonna.
got
All right, cool. By the way, I'm just saying this because I was watching the game and there's genuinely nothing behind this, right? But so I don't know why. It might just be me. But whenever Teo had the ball, how many times did he actually pass it to Sessegnon?
none. I don't think he passed it
I,
to him.
I don't know. I don't know if
And then did you see when they did
it just
throw
stood out to
in?
me. It just stood out to me. I feel like Sesson was there, was just always calling for the ball, and Tails. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
And
I'm
then
just being.
Session tried to take the throw in and
Yeah.
Teo
Yeah,
take
you saw
the
that.
ball,
Yeah, you saw that.
looked away from and threw it the other way.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking into it too much. I'm
I
pretty
think
sure I am.
Teo might be upset that Session is blocking him.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was anything serious. It's probably just I was just like looking at little microscopes, but yeah, I barely saw them be like
No,
taking
it's interesting how you pick up
that
on
they were
those
playing down
things
the
in the game though.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah,
I was
I picked
thinking
up on
someone's
that
not
too.
happy about his spot potentially being going to another player. Cool guy saying, who do you think should replace Elise? Also, is there any news on Nusa? What do you think about him? No news on Nusa. It's gone very quiet. In terms of who is going to replace Elise, I think Kamada will be starting that position, but I think after today, it seems like Smith Rowe is going to be the other option because, I mean, it was going to be Elise and Kamada as a depth option. With Elise going now, Kamada most likely will be starting as Smith Rowe there to improve the quality of depth down the right hand side instead of it being Ayew.
It's interesting that the whole Nusa thing just went quiet, and there was never like a confirmed reason for it, but it just went quiet. I'm not sure really what happened with that, but you know,
Yeah. Ryan saying, not Ryan, Alan saying, Ryan says you want to get a contract. We think
Yes.
so. We'll be surprised. We'll be surprised if he doesn't. Arsenal fans are sad to see Smith Rowe go, which says a lot. I think we'll need to pay £35 million. Yeah, they are upset. I mean, when we're upset with some players that are leaving the club, there's a reason for that. And they are upset. There's a lot. Well, it's not all of them. Some of them are happy, but there are a lot of people saying he's a quality player. Is Glasner building a squad that can play 50 matches next season? No, I think just Glasner's building a squad that can.
He's just building a squad. He's building a squad.
I mean, we want to push for Europe. That's the objective. So we're building a squad that could match that.
You
goal.
Can't get to the thing is you can't get to 50 matches a season without having the right quality to get you there. So you got to take it step by step. So you got to build your team up to be able to get you to those 50 game seasons first.
Yeah. Mukhtar saying after today, I don't see Rak-Sakis going out on loan. I think he still is going out on loan. He was very good when he did come on, but I think he's going out on loan. I'll be surprised.
Yeah. Once again, I don't doubt his quality, but as things stand, he's in a position where he's not going to be getting to play week in and week out. And that young man should be playing week in and week out somewhere to help us with his development. He's going to come back to us a better player after playing 30 some odd, 40 some odd matches compared to staying with us and playing 10, 15, maybe 20.
Yeah. And I think that is the case. But look, people, it seems like as of today, let's see what happens from here onwards. But it feels like, some things are actually spicing up now. We might be bringing in another player, Smith Rowe, Ismaila Sarr, and a few other players that we spoke about. If you're just joining us right now, go to the start of the stream where we talk about all of the players and also to speak about the Charlton game as well. If you have enjoyed this, like, subscribe, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching a replay. That's it from me and T. And until next time, up the Palace.